1, 2, 3, 4, and 10. Okay. Hello, internet world. This is Norma Joe. I don't have makeup or wig. And I was gonna, man, if only you knew, I was gonna do a whole skit, kind of, where I had sunglasses on. I'll be drinking booze and, like, all this fun stuff and try to do this shitty British accent, which I wouldn't be able to keep up. But I'm so tired. And my cats were here, 2 of them, laying on me. So I was gonna make a joke that I was covered in pussy. But then when I grabbed the phone, they like ran away. So it's probably for the better. Anyways, I watched fucking Casino Royale the other night. And this is my review of it. So anyway, Casino Royale, I remember when that movie came out, and I totally forgot it was 2006. I thought it was 2013 or something. I was like, I can't believe this movie has been out for so long. I was literally in high school when it came out, but I had no interest in seeing it. I'm not a big James Bond fan. It's just one of those things that I'm just like, you know. But the other night it was on TV, and I caught it halfway through, which I realized is basically the beginning. And then I couldn't finish it because my dad wanted to watch something. But then it turned out my mom had it on DVD. It was like a miracle. So I watched it the next night. Okay, so basically this is what I remember happening. Hopefully I can fucking say all this shit in under 20 minutes. Well, like 18 minutes now. Oh my god, look. Look. Do you see that? Anyway, okay, so basically in the beginning, it's like this black and white thing. Everything's in black and white. And this guy comes into this room, and James Bond is in there, and he's all... Oh, I forgot to mention, I gave it the same treatment I gave to Rambo 2, where I had the sound off, because I'm like, James Bond practically invented the annoying, quippy, snarky dialogue, which I hate. And also, the music in a movie like that is just so manipulative. Like, you can tell how the movie wants you to feel so clearly. Like, oh, this is a sad scene. This is a tense scene, blah, blah, blah. And I didn't want any of that bullshit. I just wanted a blank slate to look at the body language and see how people are acting and tell the story that way. So, yes, no dialogue. Both times when I heard it, I muted the movie both times. So, anyways, basically, movie starts off, and James Bond is in, he's in this room. Some guy comes into the room. It's like this high, like, building, like a business building, business office. James Bond is in there, and then they start having a flashback to James Bond killing some dude in a bathroom, and how he was, like, drowning him in the sink, and all this shit. And then I guess that guy probably worked for this guy, because in the end of this little flashback, James Bond shoots the business guy, and then the guy that he drowned sits up, and then they do the little gun barrel thing, and then they have a really cool intro with a bunch of, like, card suits and tarts and diamonds and spades and clubs going all over the place, and it was really cool. And, what else? Anyway, so then after that, it's like some fucking place in Africa, and, you know, this little child soldiers running around, and there's some guys in tents, and, you know, they got their feet up, they're, like, smoking, and they're chilling, pretty much. And then some guys show up, and one of them is Chiffon. I know his name is something else, but it's fucking, like... the way this guy's name is spelled, it's like Lechifre, I think, something like that. I don't know how you're supposed to pronounce that shit. It seems French. So I'm just gonna call him Chiffon. Anyways, him and some friends show up to do business, I guess, with these African dudes. And then, meanwhile, there's a fucking cobra and what's supposed to be a mongoose, but it's actually a domestic ferret fighting. And everyone's betting on it. Because, have you noticed movies like this? Like, I noticed this also, when I watched Prince of Persia, and it's also the way that fucking Sherlock Holmes from 2008 begins, and a whole other slew of movies like this. They always have to start with a fight. And also Rambo 3 started like this, even though that's not a 2000s movie, obviously. But so many movies have to start with this fucking ring fight. I think Land of the Dead was like that too. Just to show you that this is a debaucherous place with lots of fun things going on, you know, and stuff like that. Anyways, James Bond, he's like in a fucking Hawaiian shirt, sitting on top of a tank or something with like a bunch of other coworkers, I guess, or whatever. And they're like looking at this one guy in the crowd who has like a little 2006 phone that made me so nostalgic. And then like I really want to make bangs again, but the problem is they touch your eyes. I keep looking at this video on my other channel from 2013 when I was 23, and I had bangs, like the 80s bangs, and I'm like, I kind of want those bangs again. I just have to trim it a little bit, you know? The problem is when I cut my own bangs, I always cut them too fucking short, and then I look like fucking, I don't know, look like fucking the girl from Ghost World or something, I don't know what. But anyways, so this guy, he sees he's being watched, I think, or something like that. His phone says ellipses, aka ... And then, I forgot, he starts running. Another agent, I think, tries to come after him or shoot him or something. And he starts running, and they run through the fucking fight, and they ruin it for everybody. And then James Bond starts chasing him. And there's, like, this huge fucking long, big-ass chase, like, lasts, like, 20 minutes. Where basically the only thing that's going on is they're running around, and they run everywhere. They run through a construction site, and James Bond steals a fucking tractor, or a bulldozer or something. And he's, like, driving it through the construction site, fucking bulldozing everything. And then they start running on the beams like a fucking Looney Tunes cartoon, you know? They start running on the beams and running up and down and going up the side of the building and shit. And then they wind up in some kind of embassy or government building or something like that. And then, this guy that James Bond is trying to catch, he has burns all over him, but that doesn't stop him. He is so agile and athletic, and the two of them are just so insane. And I think the only reason he was burned was so that you could, like, recognize him, basically. So, anyways, James Bond chases him everywhere. He chases him through this fucking embassy and whatever it is, this government building, and shoots a whole bunch of fucking soldiers, I think, is what happened, fights them, and then they wind up in this courtyard, and then this, like, leader guy comes out, and he's basically like, oh, good job, or something. Like, I thought at first it was just, like, a training exercise, you know, or something. You know how movies like to trick you like that, like, oh, this whole entire thing was a simulation or some kind of game, some war game or something. But anyways, apparently it wasn't, because then they start smiling at each other, I think, something like that. I saw this movie, like, 3 days ago, so I might not remember every little thing. But then, basically, it looks like James Bond is just gonna, like, turn this guy over. But then he pushes him forward, and then he shoots him, and then he shoots, like, a whole bunch of other people with the fucking camera looking at him. And then he runs out the gate, and then the next scene, he's back in England, I guess, and his boss, who my dad keeps calling the Dame, is fucking mad, and the newspaper is like, I forgot to mention, after James Bond ran away, he took the guy's backpack that he killed, and there was, like, a bomb in it or something like that. So that's what he was trying to prevent, I guess. Anyways, he goes back to England, and then the Dame, has a newspaper that says, like, innocent man killed by MI6 agent or something, and she, like, throws a newspaper on the table. Like, the movie's very clear about this is why I like watching movies with no sound, because a lot of the time you don't need it. You don't need to hear it. Like, The movie will tell you what's going on. Like, a movie like this that's just pure action, I prefer to just see it for what it is, not try to get caught up in some complicated storyline or some shit. But anyway, so she throws the newspaper down and the camera like focuses on it, and it's obvious why she's pissed, you know. And she's just like, "You're not supposed to be doing this, da 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 da," and he's just like, "Blow me," and stuff, you know, because he has attitude. And then she's like, "You suck. If you weren't, like, good at your job, we'd fucking fire you," and shit, and whatever she said. So then I forgot the next thing that happened. He gets, well, I don't remember. The next thing that happens, he's in some fucking other place. He's, like, on the beach. And he's, like, swimming and stuff. And then he sees a lady. Oh, I remember why. Because one of, I guess, I don't even remember if this is now or later, but basically they were looking through some files, and they found Chiffon and all of his friends. And one of his friends is this, like, I guess Arabic or Middle Eastern looking dude. And so James Bond goes to where that guy is. I think that's the point. And then, yeah, because he was doing something else with weapons. I don't remember. Anyways, so James Bond, he goes to this beach. He's, like, swimming in the ocean. And then he's like, he gets out of the car, and, like, these two fucking, like, girls in tennis outfits are, like, the second he gets out of the car, these girls are, like, looking at him like, "Oh, my God, he's so hot." I'm just like, I don't think so. Like, not, I don't think so. Like, I mean, my only excuse is that, like, because he's an agent, that his agency, you know how they give him all those gadgets and shit, right? So his agency gave him, in my mind, like, a perfume that I call pheromone cologne, which is, like, it just makes everybody think you're hot, basically. Like, even if you're not. Because I'm just like, I know he's, like, all buff and everything, but that face, I don't think so. Like, I don't think a guy like that just stepping out of a car will get these 20-year-old girls to be like, "Oh my God, look at him." I don't even think they would notice him. I don't even think they would recognize his existence. But because he's wearing a pheromone cologne, it gives the illusion, it makes them notice him. It gives the illusion, I guess, that he's hot and not just, like, doesn't look how he looks. Anyways, so then, oh yeah, I forgot. Some dudes, I think what happened is because I kind of looked away for a second too. I think I was getting food or something, so I, like, kind of missed it for a second, but, like, I think these other, like, fucking high roller dudes, like, basically think that he's the help or something. Because he was spying on the other guy who was his target, I think. And he leaned down to, like, tie his shoe to make it look like, "I'm not spying, I'm just tying my shoe," you know, and stuff. And then I think because of that, these other two guys thought he was, like, a valet or some kind of servant or something. So they were like, "Take my keys to my car and park it." And they, like, gave him the keys. And just like in the fucking Mortal Kombat movie where a guy's like, "Oh, can you carry my bags onto the ship?" Where it's like, dude, he doesn't work here, you know. But this time, yeah, they give him the keys, and then he, like, takes the keys and he, like, parks the car, but he, like, purposely, like, backs it up way too far so that it, like, hits the other car behind him. And then he just, like, throws the keys. He's like, "That's what you fucking get for fucking with me." So, like, that's what you get for disrespecting me and stuff. So anyways, he goes in here, and then he's on the beach swimming. He sees this chick that's, like, riding a fucking horse on the beach, kicking sand on everybody who's just trying to lounge there. And she's, like, riding the horse in a fucking, like, sparkling, like, bikini, like a belly dancing sparkling green bikini top and, like, a fucking, like, scarf skirt. It's just so fucking funny. It's just like I mean, I know that James Bond is, like, an incel's fantasy, and that's what he's supposed to be, so I can't fault them for any of this shit, but it just makes me laugh when some movies try to take themselves so seriously in some ways, but then a scene like this will come where it's like, is this a fucking cartoon? Or is this, like, a fucking, like, like, I don't know. It's just, it was funny. Anyways, so he sees this lady riding on the beach like fucking Lady Godiva, and these little kids chasing after her, because apparently she also has pheromone cologne. And, anyways, he's just like, oh, wow, like, that lady stands out. She's got, like, fucking, like, you know, she majorly thinks that she's the shit, you know, like, her confidence is just blowing up because she feels like she can ride a fucking horse on the beach. So he's like, that's the one I want. And then he goes up to her. Oh, I don't remember what order this happens in, but basically he goes in some tavern or something. And the guy who's his target, like the Middle Eastern guy, they all start playing cards. And then the lady from the horse comes up in like a red dress. And like, this is funny because it comes back later. Like, the only purpose for her to come up is to just rub herself all over her man and kiss him and make everybody else at the table jealous, you know. That's pretty much the only purpose. So, anyways, then she goes outside, I guess after the poker game ends or whatever. Then she goes outside and James Bond is like, I think he says, like, do you want to ride or something? Okay, I'm like forgetting what order things happen in, but basically he like asks her if she wants a ride and she's just like, ha ha ha. And then he's just like, you want to fuck? You want to come to my place? And she's like, ha ha, yeah, like, that's funny. And he's just like, no, I'm serious. She's like, oh, well, okay, yeah, I guess so, you know, and stuff. Basically, that's how it happens. And then they get in the car, and then he starts, like, driving, and then he literally, there's, like, a little roundabout, like, outside the hotel or whatever, and he literally drives in a circle and comes back. But then later they are fucking, or they're about to fuck on the floor, and they're, like, rolling around, but they're not undressed yet. They're just rolling. First she's on top, and then they roll, and then he's on top and stuff. But then I think he gets a phone call or something, so he leaves. He leaves her with blue lips or whatever. I don't know what the equivalent is. And then I forget what happens next. Anyway, then there's a whole fucking part where he like, he goes to this airport. Oh, yeah, and it's Miami airport. That's the thing I remember, because they got in a cab, and it said Miami-Dade. And then he's chasing this other guy. Right, this is what I remember. There's another guy, another one of Chiffon's friends, and he's a younger guy. And James Bond is chasing him all around the airport. He's, like, tailing him, and he chases him up and down escalators and through the whole airport, and just following him everywhere. And then they go into, like, the little shopping area of, like, the airport, you know, and there's, like, a whole fucking, like, clothing store in there. And the guy goes in there, and he has, like, a bag, like a duffel bag, and he puts it down and opens it, in the changing room. And it has a cop uniform in there. And he puts the cop uniform on. He looks all cute and adorable, because you know how I feel about cop uniforms. He comes out, and then I forgot to say, James Bond stole the first guy who he killed at the African place. He stole his phone out of his backpack when he took the bomb out. So he figured out somehow that ellipsis means, like, there was a keypad, you know, to unlock a locker or something like that. And then he figured out that, like, you know how every letter, like, on the keypad corresponds to, like, like, every number corresponds to letters or something like that. So, like, he figured out somehow that ellipsis is, like, you just correspond the letters to the numbers, and it's like a code to the locker. So he opens it, and then and then I forgot earlier there was some shit where, I remember, because he snuck into some fucking place at the hotel or something like that, I don't remember, and there was a whole bunch of numbers on the phone, and somehow he figured out that corresponds to the security footage. So he went into the security room, and he pulled out the security tape, and he put it on the machine, and he, like, brought it to, like, a certain, like, minutes and seconds and hours, you know, on the tape. And then, because that was also on the phone, and then it showed that young guy, I think, or I don't remember which one of these two guys, either the poker player guy or the young guy. But one of them was getting out of the cab. I think it was the poker player guy. Maybe it was both of them. I don't remember. But anyways, so yeah, he's like chasing this guy all around, and basically somehow they wind up in the big ass oil tanker, and then like they have a big old fight like on the tanker, and the guy, I guess he's trying to drive the tanker into an airplane on the runway so that it will cause an explosion. But of course James Bond wants to stop that, so they're like fighting in the tanker, in the cab, you know, fighting on the seat, punching each other and doing all that stuff, you know, super actiony. And then the tanker gets all beat up so that like oil spilling out of it and stuff. And what happens? There's like this little keychain thing with like a detonator, I guess, on it, you know, that's supposed to blow the tanker up. And then it's like on the truck or whatever. And anyways, so James Bond, he does some shit where he like kicks, I think he finally kicks the guy out of the cab of the truck, and he takes it over, but the guy killed the brakes, I think, something like that, so he can't stop. So he like, you know, spins the truck, he like swerves and does all this shit, and then of course the truck's like this close to hitting the airplane, but it fucking doesn't. And then James Bond gets out of the truck, and the guards with their guns come, and they point the guns at him, and they handcuff him and shit like that. And then the young guy with the cop uniform on is like, I got the last laugh, and he has his little detonator thing that's supposed to set off the little bomb that was on the keychain, and he like hits it, but then he's like, oh, why did it not blow up? And then he realizes while they were fighting, James Bond took the keychain off the truck and put it on his belt loop, so it blows him up, basically, which I thought that was pretty sick. That's pretty clever. And let me see what else. Yeah, so that's basically the end of like the first movie. All that is the shit I missed when I saw it on TV. Then is the start of the second movie, where James Bond, he gets on a fucking airplane, and then he gets on a fucking airplane, and he meets Vesper, who's like gonna be his girlfriend, you know, and stuff like that. And they have all this stupid quippy dialogue, and I'm sure it's very annoying, that I'm happy I missed, as they flirt with each other back and forth. And I'm sure James Bond says a bunch of sexist shit, because that's part of the story. And then they go to Casino Royale. So they go, oh, and I forgot to mention, in between all these little scenes, like every time somebody gets taken out or some plan gets fucked up, Chiffon is just suffering, and he has this face like he's always gonna cry. and he's like got this inhaler, like he's like always taking puffs off this inhaler, and he has like this little dinky scratch over his eye, like this tiny little scratch. Like, I'm not saying somebody couldn't have like cut his eye out, especially if he was being tortured, and it didn't happen naturally in a fight where you just get slashed across your face. Like, if he was like being tortured where somebody was like cutting his eye with an X-Acto knife or something like that, okay, it's fine, whatever. But it's not a very interesting scar. And then whenever he gets upset, he starts like crying blood out of that eye, and he starts puffing on the inhaler, and he's just he just looks so sad, you know. And it's funny because the guy that plays him, I realize now, is in like fucking everything. He's like every fucking where. But you know how sometimes you don't know about a certain thing or a certain actor or something like that, you never heard of them before. I feel like I've talked about this before on YouTube, and like you never heard of them before in your life, you know, and then the second you hear of them, you see them fucking everywhere. Like, that happens to me. So yeah, I never heard of this guy before, ever, until I saw The Hunt. And now I see him everywhere. But anyways, so they go to Casino Royale. Oh my god, look at this. The monster has arrived. I don't know how, man, I'm on 25 minutes now. I don't know how long this is gonna, like, let me record before it cuts me off. And I'll just go for it. Anyways, okay, James Bond and Vesper, they go into their hotel room. And she's getting, like, all fixed up with her makeup and shit. And then James Bond puts, like, a dress on the door. And the way they act is like, oh, look, you can see the dog. The way they act is like, he's like, here's the dress you're gonna be wearing tonight. I picked it out. Ha ha ha. You know, he's like fucking with her. And she's just like, okay, whatever. And she's just like, what are you doing in my bathroom and stuff? He's like, you have to wear this because I picked it out. But then she gets him back because he finds like a tuxedo on the bed. And he's just like, what the fuck is this? And she's like, you have to wear what I picked out. Ha ha ha. So they like get each other, I guess, whatever. That's how it seemed. And then fucking, yeah, they go downstairs. No, just James Bond goes downstairs. He sees himself in the tuxedo, even though he didn't really seem happy about it at first, but then he's just like, actually, I like how I look in it. And then he goes downstairs, and he joins the, what do you call it, Texas Hold'em table. And basically all these fucking, like, super powerful people are there. There's, like, the Chinese leader lady, and then there's, like, this, like, I think African leader guy, and then there's, like, some other fucking powerful Illuminati-looking people, you know, and shit. And, like, you know, and then he sits down. He's right across from Chiffon, and him and Chiffon are just, like, they're just, like, looking at each other so hard, and, like, you know, the dealer who has a really, really cool shirt or vest, whatever. It had all, like, these cards on it and shit. It looked awesome. Me and my mom were both admiring his attire. He, like, they, like, oh, and it's not him, though. That's the dealer. Like, it was two other guys. This one guy with this blonde, dorky-looking guy, and this guy with a mustache kind of looks like Ed Wood a little bit. Like, they were the hosts, and they were, like, they told everybody the rules. They were like, this is a marathon game. You gotta stay for, like, days and days at this table until somebody wins everything. And, you know, you can have breaks to sleep and shit like that, but, like, and, you know, you can use the bathroom, but you can't really leave. You have to stay here, otherwise you fucking forfeit all your money. I think that's what he said. And, so everyone's like, okay, we're in, you know, and shit like that. And Chiffon already seems like he knows everything about James Bond. He's not like, he doesn't have a look like, who are you? He's just like, I fucking know everything about you. And I hate you already because you're ruining my life. You killed, like, 2 of my friends, maybe 3. I don't know if he was friends with the African guy in the beginning or if that guy was just, like, a patsy. But anyways, he's like, you fucked up my plans to blow up the airplane or whatever. I don't know. And then, basically, they start betting, and then they take a break. Oh, no, I remember, because, like I said, the scene where oh, and I forgot to mention, before James Bond left for Casino Royale, they found the Lady Godiva dead and wrapped up in a hammock, because she had been involved with all that shit. So, anyways, then... then, yes, Vesper comes down in this really nicely colored but kind of weirdly cut dress that, you know, with matching makeup and all this shit, and everybody's looking at her, and she does the exact same shit that they learned from Lady Godiva, where she literally just comes up to James Bond, she walks through the room so everybody can look at her, and then she goes up to James Bond, and then she, like, nuzzles him and kisses him, and then she turns to everybody else and she's like, I bet you want this, but you ain't getting it, only he's getting it, so there. And then she goes off to get a drink, and then there's another helper guy there who's like kind of like their assistant, I guess, like kind of like their like Dr. Watson, I guess, or whatever. And then they're just hanging out on the sidelines, and everybody's fucking watching like the Texas Hold'em table. And yeah, then anyways, then then they take a break. James Bond gets up to get a drink, I guess, and kiss Vesper and stuff. And then the helper guy gives him something that I thought was a cyanide pill. But I guess it's actually a tracker, because earlier they put a microchip in James Bond. and I guess this is the same. But I thought it was poison because he put it in because fucking stupid Chiffon left his inhaler on the table, which is so fucking stupid, especially considering what happens later. He's so careless. But okay, like if I was him, I wouldn't even let anybody else see it. I'd have it in my chest pocket right here. I'd take it out to take a puff, but I would put it right back in the pocket. It's not touching the table, okay? But anyways, James Bond puts the little thing in his inhaler, and I thought that it was poison, so that when he goes to take a puff off it, he'll be poisoned. But no, I think it was just to track him. But it doesn't make sense because when he went upstairs, when Chiffon went upstairs, he didn't take his inhaler. He left it down there. So I don't understand. But anyways, the point is he goes up to his room, and he has this girlfriend who's always topless, at least in the back. She doesn't like wearing shirts with backs. She's like, my back cannot be touched with fabric, you know? Like, it has to just be bare to the wind because I'm uncomfortable otherwise. I can wear straps on my back, but that's it. No real fabric. So she's, like, on the balcony, and then he comes out, and then these fucking African dudes come with a machete, and they're, like, I don't know, they're just pissed off about something, I guess about money or whatever. And then they, like, they start choking, I almost called him Lucas. They start choking Chiffon, and they take his girlfriend, his Russian-ass looking girlfriend, and they're like, we're gonna chop her arm off, but then right at the end, they don't, and then the guy's like, ha ha ha, scared you, you know, whatever, or I think maybe Chiffon might have told him, like, I'll pay you back, you know, and stuff, and he's just like, so they start to leave, but then right when they start to leave, James Bond and Vesper are in the hall, and, they, like, attack them. So then there's, like, this big old fight. They go down the staircase, and then they flip this one guy over the stair railing, and then the other guy with the machete, they fight, like, all the way down the stairs. And then at the end, bottom, him and James Bond are rolling around, and, you know, like he was doing with Lady Godiva. And then he grabs a gun, and then Vesper comes. And, oh, I forgot to mention, Vesper, like, hates violence, I guess is the point, because every time she saw a gun, she was like, oh my god, what is that? This is supposed to be... She's like, I am a peaceful agent. I don't get involved in violence. And James Bond's like, well, I have a license to kill, so, you know, I'm gonna do my thing. But then she helps because she starts slamming the guy's hand on the ground until he drops the gun, and then James Bond fucking strangles him. And then she gets really... I feel like I'm skipping a part. I know I'm skipping a part in here because I remember there's something in the middle here, but I'm forgetting it. And then James Bond goes up back to their room, and there's a fucking broken wine glass. And I thought at first that was supposed to signify that Vesper got kidnapped, but it just meant that she was sad. She was pissed off and sad and confused because she's like, I have never seen violence before. I do not get involved in killings, and I just broke my vow or whatever to myself. Like, she's like, I have never been involved in a killing before. You made me have to help kill somebody even though it was you, but I watched, you know. And she's just like, that is really wrong, you know, I don't feel good about it. And then he's like, he gets in the shower with her with all their fucking clothes on, and then he's like, I'll make you feel better. She's like all like Lady Macbeth. She's like, you see the blood on my hands, I'm so guilty. He's like, I'll take the blood off your hands. And then he starts sucking on her fingers. And then it's supposed to be romantic as they cuddle in the shower. And I told my mom, I'm so fucking happy I watched it on mute because I can only imagine the fucking song. The only song that would have made that okay is if it was Angel by Sarah McLachlan. Or Fallen by her. Fallen is a much better song, but Angel, you know, is just so iconic and so classic. I need to make my own. You know what? I had this thing I wanted to do before where I wanted to, basically create playlists, like, to, like, match up to songs. So that, you know how, like, the whole, like, Mystery Science Theater, riff tracks, whatever that is, like, you know, it's, like, commentary over the movie that you set it up separately. I was gonna have my own version of that, but with playlists, where it was, like, you just start the playlist, and the playlist will, like, sync up to the whole movie. Kind of like, you know, Dark Side of the Moon with not Lord of the Rings, what the fuck, with Wizard of Oz, but except, you know, it would be curated by me. It would be, like, you know, I would choose every song to match the movie scenes. Anyways, whatever. So then after that, James Bond goes back to the table, and then they play some more, and I feel like something else happens in here that I don't even remember. But then, oh, I remember, because me and my mom rewound this scene, and we paused it and played it a couple times because we wanted to see what hands everybody had, because James Bond has a king and an ace, and of course, because why would he have anything else? And then he plays it, but then Chiffon counters him with 2 jacks, because the Hold'em cage, whatever you call that shit in Texas Hold'em, like the communal dish, whatever the fuck you call that thing, the communal cards already have 2 jacks, so that's what we discovered, is that he won with a 4 of a kind, whereas James Bond had a super high full house with kings and aces, but the 4 of a kind beat him out. And then he was pissed, and then he took it out on Vesper, which I thought at first he was telling, because they go on the balcony, and then he starts, like, being pissy, and he's just like, and then she's just like, he's like, that's what I saw, at least. And I thought at first he was telling her that she had to leave, and she couldn't be his partner anymore because of what happened in the shower. He's like, you can't see dead bodies, and you need to fucking leave. But then my mom said maybe it was supposed to be because she was supposed to fix the cards for him, and she didn't, or she didn't give him some signal. She fucked up something that she was supposed to do that had to do with the cards, maybe. That's what my mom said. But we both don't know because we didn't hear any dialogue, thank God. So anyways, so they have a little fight, and then after that is like the fucking, I think it's better than the fucking ball torture scene, honestly, but might be first or second depending on your tastes. But stupid ass fucking James Bond does the thing that you're never supposed to do. The only thing worse than this is getting somebody a live animal for Christmas without telling them, or for their birthday. That is the only thing that tops this. But no, the fucking, he gets a drink from the bar that he didn't order himself, that he didn't see get prepared, and the fucking Russian backless girl put poison in it, and he just fucking drinks it down. Actually, he only had like 2 sips, but I guess the poison's like super powerful, you know? And he takes like 2 sips, and Chiffon's just like looking at him like, and he's just like, Chiffon, what is your problem? Why are you sweating me so fucking hard? And then he starts sweating for real, and he's just like, oh my God. And then he looks at the drink, he's like, you fucking poisoned me, you asshole. And Chiffon's just like, actually, he doesn't look away like that. He's straight up just stares at him, like, just like, he just stares. He stares, like, fucking unbreakingly. And then James Bond fucking, I was like, okay, what's gonna happen? So this is his plan, right? Firstly, he grabs a salt shaker and a glass, and he goes in the bathroom, and he fucking drinks all the salt so that he can throw up. And I thought it was funny, the fact that, like, they show a lot of violence in this movie, but they can't show throw up. Like, I think that's so weird, like, the different standards for different movies, you know what I mean? Like, because, like, you know, you can pretty much show all the violence you want. You can even show rape and stuff in movies. I mean, as long as it's not, like, pornographic, you know. You can show a lot of horrible-ass shit in movies. And as this movie shows, you can show torture and everything. But you can't show, like, they fucking censor the fact that he was, like, puking. Like, that, if it was my movie, it would be like a fucking, well, that's not true. I was gonna say it would be like a trauma movie, but no, I don't need to go that far. But I would have shown it, okay? I mean, if you're gonna show everything else, I'm like, if you're gonna, even have this idea of somebody like forcing themselves to throw up, you might as well go all the way. You know, I feel like, you know, so if it was me, because I know how to do a fake puking scene for a movie, like, it's so easy. Like, all you have to do is just, like, get a blender and make yourself a nice little agua fresca with a bunch of random shit in it. And then, like, just tell your actor, like, here, like, you know, you just film them up until the part where they, like, are about to puke, and then you, like, switch the camera angle so it gives you an excuse to, like, edit, you know, cut and edit and shit. And then you just tell them, like, yeah, put all this stuff, like, in your mouth, like, in your cheeks, and then just pretend like you're, like, puking in the sink. And yeah, that would have been a much better scene, in my opinion. Anyways, so then he goes out to his car, and he's all fucked up. I don't know what fuck kind of poison this was, but he's all fucked up. He's just like, and then he gets in his car, and then he fucking hooks himself up to some thing that I guess transmits all his heartbeat and everything like that to all the other agents. And the dame and all the fucking friends are like, they all rush and gather around this computer as they're all like, James is in trouble. I think that's what they said. And everyone gathers around this fucking computer. It's kind of like in, it reminds me of in, Escape from New York, when they have the little bracelet that, like, will tell them if you're alive or not, I guess. And, and everyone's gathered around it, you know, and stuff. But anyway, so yeah, then they're just like, use the little heart-shocking paddle pads thing. It looks like a little, like, fucking game controller or something. And then he's like, okay. And then he's like laughing. He's like, ha, 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 ha. And then he, like, puts the things on. Oh, I forgot to mention before, after he fought the guy and killed him in the stairwell, he went into the bathroom and washed all the blood off himself and got a new shirt because it was all bloody. And then he drank a whole fucking cup of scotch, I guess, whatever. He was drinking some brown liquor. And he drank it down like I thought he was gonna, like, do surgery on himself or something, give himself stitches or something. I don't know what it was, but he didn't do anything like that. He just felt like doing it. He's just like, yeah, I just need a drink right now, you know. And then for the entire rest of the movie, he has, like, this Band-Aid on his stomach, like a big square, like, you know those, like, extra large, like, square Band-Aids? It's white. He has one of those on his stomach for the entire rest of the movie. So, I don't know, whatever. Anyways, he puts these fucking paddles on, and he's, like, trying to press the little start button, and everyone on this side is saying, push the button, but it's like, and he's like, I'm trying, but, like, he can't, and then he realizes that the reason it's not working, which is so fucking frustrating, because everybody knows, like, when you lose service on your phone, especially when you're doing it for a job like I do, and you're just trying to make it refresh, and it won't do it, and you're just like, please work. But anyways, so yeah, then at the very last second, he realizes the reason his, like, shitty gear isn't working is because a fucking wire fell out of it. Which I'm just like, you guys, this is supposed to be, like, secret agents. You can't solder a little bit better on this gear you're giving them. But whatever. So fucking wire fell out. And then he passes out on the seat very entertainingly. And then Vesper comes, like, right at that second. She opens the door. Like, she was just waiting for him to pass out. She was watching from across the street. She was like, he doesn't need my fucking help. But then she saw him pass out. She's like, oh, shit. Now I have to do something. So she went over there. And then she literally just plugged the wire back in. And then she hit the start button. Like, it's, like, kind of like Elf Shuffleboard or whatever. Like, I think you have to wait till the little bars, like, power up, like, all 5 bars, and then you gotta time it right and hit it. That's what it seemed like. Anyway, she fucking hits it, and then he fucking jolts awake. He's like, oh my god. And then he's like, I forgive you. All that stuff I said on the balcony, I didn't mean it, because you just saved me, and, you know, everything's good now, and stuff. He's just like, we traded. I cuddled you in the shower, and sucked your fingers, and now you stop my heart from stopping. So we're even, basically. And then he cleans himself up, and, like, 2 seconds flat, he goes back into the game. He's just like, what's up, guys? Yeah, that's right. I said pee. That's all, you know. And yeah, I got head in the bathroom. Like, I bet you're jealous, and stuff. That's why it took so long. And then Chiffon is just pissed. Like, he's just like, you're not supposed to fucking be here. He's just like, I can't with this. Like, this is not even cool. And then they play some more. Oh, and then they say they're all in a couple times. I remember, like, Chiffon was like, I'm all in. And then James beat him, I think. So he lost everything. But then I think James Bond said that he was all in. I don't remember. They went all in a couple of times, I think. I just remember that Chiffon was like, all in. Because I could read lips a little bit, And then, man, 45 minutes. I can't believe my phone isn't shut off yet. Anyways, then I better fucking speed this shit up because there's so much more in the movie. What happens after this? The game ends eventually. And what the fuck happens after that? Oh, right. Because James Bond and not Chiffon. Yeah. James Bond and Vesper do something. I don't remember. They're talking or making out or something like that. I don't remember. And then Vesper's like, I'm gonna leave. And then she, like, goes out. Oh, yeah, I think they're celebrating because I think they were in bed or something having a drink. I don't remember. But anyways, so she's like, I'm gonna go out. And then he's just like, okay. And then, like, a second after she leaves, he's like, go out, oh my god. And he, like, runs out the door. And, like, literally the second he gets out the hotel door, he sees her getting kidnapped and thrown in a fucking car. And then he, like, gets in his car and he starts chasing them all over the fucking place. And then Vesper's, like, in the road tied up like a fucking, like, cartoon, like a fucking, like, one of those old like 20s cartoons or whatever where they're, like, in the road, like, tied up, on the train tracks and stuff. And then he swerves to hit her. He swerves to not hit her. And he, like, goes off the road. His car flips over, like, about 5 times and stuff. And he gets knocked out. But apparently he doesn't break his neck or anything like that. He's cool. And the bad guys were like, yes, exactly as planned. And then they all surround him. And they pull him out of the car. And then they lay him on the grass. And then the guy cuts the microchip out of him. Which, at first, like, when they first showed that he got microchipped, it looked like it was, like, really, like, deep inside him. So I was like, this guy... And they showed him cutting his wrist, like, how do you say, down the high... What is it? Across the road, down the highway? Something like that. He cut him downwards, and I was like, James Bond is just going to bleed to death because this guy is, doing the suicide cut on him. But no, it was, like, really simple. Like, he just basically flicked his knife out, and he just, like, kind of, like, flicked, like, he barely cut him. He just flicked the microchip out. So, fine. And then, Chiffon, of course, takes them all to the warehouse. It's some, like, fucking place that looks like it's from, like, Amnesia Pig Machine, and with all these pipes and all these wheel doors and stuff like that. And then and then they fucking put Vesper in a room with the backless girl with her glittery fucking eyeshadow. Looks like she's going to a rave in, like, West Berlin or something. And then yeah, they pull James Bond's shirt off, and you see a little button go flying, which I like that. I like that detail. And then next thing you know, he's all the way naked, and they tie him up to the chair. Oh, I forgot to mention, when they get the chair out, the guy does this, like, fancy, like, I think he does what you call a butterfly knife. He takes it out, and he doesn't just take his knife out. He does this fancy little twirl with it, and then he stabs it into the wicker chair. So they didn't just have a chair with no bottom. They actually made a chair with no bottom. Whatever. I just thought that was cute. But they had the chair there. Maybe they picked it up on the way because they showed that they were driving for a while. So maybe, like, they went by, like, fucking, thrift store or something. They went by the fucking junk shop, and they were just like, we need a chair. It has to have a really, like, weak seat so we can, like, slice it out I mean, no reason. You know, we don't ask us questions. This is our personal life, you know. And anyways, whatever. They put James Bond on there and they tie him up all S&M style. And the reason I say it's S&M is because when you see him in silhouette, he's like up on his tiptoes. He's not flat-footed on the floor, which, I mean, maybe there's some logistical thing to that. Like maybe it stops him from tipping the chair or something like that. But I just thought that was a little kinky. And then, you know, they have the whole famous scene where Chiffon has his like rope thing, and he's like I tried to read their lips so bad because I wanted to see what they were saying, but the only thing I could understand was Chiffon said, "Do you know?" And then I didn't understand the rest, but he just enunciated that part really clearly. And then, yeah, they had their little thing, and it was very sexual. And then I like all the innuendos, you know, though. I like when they show that, like, I like when they show, like, the bottom of the chair, like, with James Bond's, like, legs, and then they show just, like, the rope, like, swinging behind him, so it's kind of like a ball sack, but it's obviously not, you know. I like all the little innuendos. It's good editing. And then, they're, like, laughing together, you know, it's like there's torture going on, but then at the same time, they start, like, James Bond starts laughing, he's just like, ha, 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 and then Chiffon starts going, like, ha, and they're, like, laughing together, he's like, ha, 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 and James Bond's like, ha, 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 and they're all laughing, you know, and then, Chiffon goes like, okay, enough of this fucking bullshit, and he like kicks the chair down. He like flips James Bond onto his back because he's just like, I'm done with this. Like, this scene's going on too long. Like, it needs to end, you know. And he's like, are we just gonna do this forever, you know? And then he takes a knife out, and I assume he's trying to like castrate him or something like that. But then is the best fucking scene in the entire movie, which this always happens to me. What I consider to be the best scene in movies is always really more of a moment. It's like literally lasts for like half of a fucking second, but it's just like, it's in silhouette, everything's dark, and there's like a vignette, and James Bond's like, you know, he's like tied to the chair, but on his back, like on the floor, and Chiffon is like over his legs, and then he does this thing with the knife where he like drags it up James Bond's thigh. It's literally like blink and you miss it, but it's like really sexy. I was like, wow. And I don't even find Daniel Craig to be attractive, but you don't see either one of them. They're both in silhouette, so it really doesn't matter. It's just the idea of it, you know. It has nothing to do with who's there. It could have easily been two extras or stunt doubles or whatever, because they're just in silhouette. But it was very sexy, yeah. And then the door gets opened, and then this fucking other guy is there with a gun, and he shoots Chiffon in the head. Oh my god, this is gonna be an hour. Okay, I swear to god, I'm gonna finish in 7 minutes. I'm gonna go super fast. He shoots Chiffon in the head, or at least you're supposed to think that. And then fucking James Bond gets taken to this fucking hospital, I guess, or whatever, and even though he got poisoned, and his heart almost stopped, and he took adrenaline, and he did all this crazy shit, and beat himself up for this fucking poison, and he was fine literally a second later. This time, from getting his balls smashed, he's, like, in this hospital, like, forever. And it's like, okay, I'm not saying that, like, you wouldn't get fucked up from getting your balls smashed. Like, you know, it's like, not saying it wouldn't affect you at all, but I'm just like, well, whatever. Maybe it was a hospital stay / vacation, because, you know, at the end of every mission, they give these agents, like, a vacation and shit like that. And I was like, okay, here, have your vacation here. And then he's just, like, hanging out with Vesper and shit like that. And then there was one random scene where it's, like, they were, like, just chilling and shit, like, on the hillside or whatever. And it was all peaceful and shit, looking out in the ocean. And then the next scene, they're like, it's raining, and they're going fucking crazy. Like, they're so fucking horny. They're just like, oh my god, we have to fuck. And they, like, rip their fucking, like, she, like, rips her shoes off, and they, like, jump in the bed, and then they roll off the bed, and there's, like, some, like, random-ass poles, like, some IV poles, but they're not being used. Some machines, like, over there, and you just see them, like, topple over and like fucking like it's like they're just so fucking horny, you know. And then like yeah, James Bond, he does something to the Watson guy where he has him tased and taken away. I don't know why. He was mad at him for some reason. Then Vesper tells James Bond to quit, so he sends him his quitting notice. He's like, okay, I did enough jobs. I did like 3 jobs, so I quit. And then they go to some fucking place and they're like on a boat. But then Vesper is looking through binoculars and she sees Chiffon with a new really really cute outfit on and the fucking glasses like that, where one of them is like a sunglass, one of them is blacked out, which I told my mom I thought was funny because he's not wearing an eye patch the whole rest of the movie. So why is he wearing glasses with a built-in eye patch? But whatever, it's fine. And then basically, I don't know, Vesper does something where she something I forgot this part, and then Vesper is giving Chiffon a suitcase, I guess full of money, probably because he's all about money. And then James Bond finds out about it, and they have a big huge battle in a building, and this big huge shootout, and things start exploding, and these fucking submarines explode, and this air comes out, and the whole building starts falling down because they're in Milan, or not Milan, fucking that place, Venice, or some shit like that, where everything is water, and so the thing starts crumbling into the water, and they lock Vesper in a fucking elevator shaft with the elevator that's a cage so you can see through it, and then everybody fucking gets shot and dies, and there's a nail gun, and fucking Chiffon gets shot in the eye with a nail gun and dies, and then James Bond tries to get Vesper out of the cage, but then I guess she feels so guilty, so she says she wants to die, and so she pulls the pin out of the thing, because the door is stuck, and the elevator shoots to the bottom of the shaft, like way under the water. She's like, don't follow me, James, and he's like, Titanic, something, and he goes in there, and he jumps in the water, and he dives all the way to the bottom. And Vesper looks at him straight in the eye, and she's like, I told you not to come down here. And then she starts breathing in water and breathing out air, and she's like, kill me, water. And then she fucking dies, and then literally the second after she dies, James Bond busts the door down, and he drags her all the way up to the surface, and he tries to revive her, and she dies. Because, you know, James Bond, he's not allowed to have lasting relationships. That's what I told my mom, that it's just a fact, you know, it's just a fact. He's not allowed. So, this type of thing will always happen, and, then, he's sad, and then but then somebody else, some rich guy got the bag at the end, the suitcase full of money, and then James Bond goes to him, and he shoots him in the leg, and he walks over him with a big giant-ass gun, and he says, I'm fucking James Bond, and then roll credits. Yeah.